Hello. So yeah, it's true. We have finally decided to keep chickens as pets in our back garden. So our son is very keen on chickens. He used to write about them pretty much every time he was asked to write a piece of work in English at school. So much so that the teacher actually told him, "Don't mention chickens anymore." But anywho, he has persuaded his parents that now is the time to bring some chickens into our family. Now, I've had no experience rearing chickens or any bird in particular. I don't think my wife has either, so we're a little bit new to all this. But I'm sure the learning curve is going to be significant. If you've got any advice or tips, please feel free to share them with us. But yeah, let's get underway. Let's see where we have got up to so far. Well, the first thing that was needed for us to do was a lot of research. We needed to work out what type of chickens would best suit our certain requirements, how much space do they need, so individually and collectively, so we can work out how much of the garden we're going to need to dedicate to the chickens, what type of food do they need and how can we source that locally. So our initial plan was to get maybe 6 to 12-week-old chicks, and that would avoid the difficulty of incubating the eggs ourselves, something of course we have zero knowledge of doing correctly. And also we wouldn't have to care for those very, very young birds the first time out. We contacted several suppliers locally, but with not much luck, and there was even one supplier that was supposedly able to deliver live birds to its customers. We didn't really get a response from them. So I think due to the current situation, it's just not a viable option. So plan B, it looks like we're going to need to get fertilized eggs and incubate them ourselves after all. Now clearly, our normal supermarket eggs, like these ones here, are not going to be what we're after. But where are we going to get fertilized eggs from? Well, it turns out a good place to get them from is eBay, funnily enough. There are quite a few options available, and we probably, through luck rather than judgment, stumbled across this supplier here. We ultimately purchased 3 packs of eggs from this supplier, and they've all arrived in this, wonderful polystyrene packaging, very quick postage, 1 or 2 days, and all the eggs are very nicely individually wrapped, as you see here, nice little cut-out sections within the polystyrene, and we've had no breakages at all in the post. So I thoroughly recommend this supplier. And as you can see, we've gone for silkies. So based on our research, it seems silkies are very good with children, and they like being held and fussed, which is what we're after. So they're very docile creatures and actually good for back gardens, as they don't tend to make a big mess, and they also don't fly very much. But we'll see what happens when they hatch. Now, in terms of incubators, it does seem like most things you get what you pay for. This small one here is what we first went for, and this one costs between £30–35. As you can see, you can set the temperature on the front. Instructions suggests 38 degrees, but I've been experimenting because of the lack of any progress with them. And it requires filling up with water in a tray just under the eggs there. It's quite awkward to get to because you've got to take the lid off, and then you obviously lose a little bit of your temperature and your humidity, as you'll see here. And this is the second one I've got of these. The first one, the heater broke, the fan broke, and it ultimately killed all the eggs. But the turning on this one is manual. So you have to go in and remember to turn the eggs, and we're just not very good at doing that. We managed to do a daily turn, obviously keeping the water topped up to maintain the humidity, but we just weren't getting very good results. We had a bit of problem with the machine itself. Like I said, the first one was broken, and we got a second one from the supplier. Now this egg here is probably the best one we had. I think we ultimately moved it into the Brinsea incubator that you'll see next. So personally, I would avoid these smaller, cheaper incubators. They're probably not suitable for newbies like myself and you if you're first time incubating eggs as well. Now, looking at these through the candling light here that we just got off Amazon, you can use a phone or a torch or what have you. we won't really know what to look for. We looked on YouTube, and you could see the blood vessels on YouTube. YouTube, and you're struggling to think, well, these eggs don't look right. And like I said, I was experimenting with the temperature, bringing it down to sort of 37.5 range. Nothing really was happening with these eggs, so we decided ultimately to go for a better quality incubator. And these better quality incubators are going to be able to automate a lot more of the required features really to help us out while we're in this learning phase. Things such as temperature control, humidity control, and I think most importantly for us, automatic egg turning to ensure that the required numbers of turns are being carried out each day. Actually got two different types of silkies here. We've got Siamese silkies and just plain normal silkies. I think that one's a Siamese silky egg. Here you can see there's the drip tray where the water gets put in, but the shelf above that was showing rust on there after just 5 days usage. There's the heat, the fan in the middle, and the temperature gauge to the left. So like I was saying, probably avoid those cheaper ones. Brinsea, bit more expensive, over £100 this one, the Mini 2 Advance. Again, you've got your temperature set, 37.5 they recommend in the instructions, but this one is auto turning. So what you'll see in a second here is you see those teeth there on the side of the egg tray. That's actually driven by that black motor there on the side of the device. And you can set how often the eggs turn in the computer, and it recommends you turn them every 45 minutes by a certain number of degrees, which ultimately rotates the egg through 360 degrees, I believe. And there in the center is the water reservoir, obviously maintaining the humidity in the device. It's got a nice little protective cap on the top to stop the birds drowning, and that's actually filled in from an outside reservoir, as you can see here. So you pour your water in there, and then through air pressure it actually pops up in the middle of the device, so you don't lose your heat and your humidity constantly lifting up the lid. And I have to say, we got some brilliant results with this device, as you'll see now. So again, we've got two types of silkies here. We've got your Siamese silkies, and we've also got just the plain, well, mixed coloured silkies as well. Was another option we had. And as you can see, after day 5, we can see those blood vessels. So I think that constant turning is obviously quite important, because that's what we want really doing, and it seems to, so it says on the internet, prevents adhesion of the embryo to the inner shell membrane and stimulates the rate of development of the membrane rich in blood vessels, as we can see here. I'm always curious as to what the black dot is. I think it's the heart, but I'm not sure. So there you can see the black dot. I think it's the heart. Or the head. And again, a lot of these eggs, we've got this boundary where you've got the dark pinky red colour, and then you've got the yellow colour. Interesting to know what that is as well. This egg didn't look quite so well developed at this stage. A few blood vessels there. What was that pencil? Yeah, not so much going on in that one. Again, you've got that boundary between the pinky colour and then the lighter eggshell colour. I'm not sure what's causing that. Then again, you can see the black dot in the embryo. Here, some of these eggs came with a bit of dirt on. We've not cleaned them up. I think there is risk of water seeping into the egg and so you've got to be careful with the temperature. But we've not bothered cleaning any of the eggs. As you can see as well, after 5 days, this one is actually moving quite a lot. Feisty little fellow. And now we move on here to day 10, and again you can see the rate of progression. We're about halfway through the incubation phase, and the egg is rich, full of blood vessels. The embryo is much further advanced, and you can probably see movement in every single egg we show here. I find watching this very mesmerising and quite soothing. Another one. Look at how many blood vessels are in that one. Again, there is our embryo. You can almost make out the shape of it there. Again, you've got those different coloured boundaries that seem to be evident on some of the eggs. Now this one looks quite curious because there's two dark patches in this egg. So when I first saw this, I thought, could there possibly be two embryos in there? I'm thinking, no, it's probably just the way it's facing. So you could probably see two ends of the same embryo there. But you never know. Do eggs hatch twins? So we've managed to do our research, we've identified the breed that's right for our situation and that we want to keep as a pet. We've managed to obtain some good quality eggs, we've managed to incubate them successfully. We now need to prepare for them ultimately hatching, which is not going to be very long. We need to get their homes built. So join us in the next episode to watch us get to grips with that.